Hey guys, Nick from War History with Nick, and today we'll be talking about Operation Sea Lion, Hitler's plan to take over the world. I liked this video like last week, or a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago, when I did the video titled My Big Announcement, big as in all capitals. An announcement because of the 20... You guys seen the video, so I don't have to explain it at all. So anyway, let's get into the video. So today we're going to be talking about Operation Sea Lion, and Operation Sea Lion was the operation that Hitler wanted to use to take over, most of the globe. And the other parts were the Japanese, the Italians, also they supported this idea. Then Hitler first invaded Austria and then Czechoslovakia, and then afterwards he invaded Poland, and then Hitler and Stalin both invaded Poland, and then Britain and France declared war on Germany. And then in 1940 Hitler took France and then went all the way to the borders of Spain, and then next year in 1941, Hitler did the Battle of Britain, and then he commenced Operation Sea Lion and the full military might of all of his troops, he marched in, he invaded Britain and then started from the lower parts of England, and after he took London, he took the British Isles, and then he invaded Ireland, which he didn't want to invade, but he did anyway. And then he invaded Scotland, and then afterwards he took over part. And afterwards he decided to conquer it, and then he turned his attention towards Stalin, and then then he commenced Operation Barbarossa, and then he invaded Soviet Russia, and then it became winter, and that was bad news for Hitler. But then Hitler gave his troops winter equipment, and then the Germans took Moscow, and then they defeated Soviet Russia, and the Japanese took. They didn't take all of Soviet Russia. The Japanese took parts of it, and because mostly we're going to be focusing on Nazi Germany, so we're not going to maybe focus on any other countries. So then Hitler had an idea. And then the Spanish joined the Axis, and then the Spanish invaded Morocco and Portugal. And then Hitler wanted to jump to the Americas, but he didn't want the U.S. to declare war on them. And then the Japanese just attacked Pearl Harbor in 1944, and U.S. declared war on Japan and Germany. And then Germany jumped the Bering Strait from Russia to Alaska, and then they jumped from Scotland to Iceland to Greenland, and then from Canada, and Hitler invaded the Americas. And then he took Alaska, and then he took the Canadian territories, and then he took the southern provinces of Canada, and then he invaded the United States. And on the Japanese side, after the U.S. declared war on them, the Japanese won the Battle of Midway and took Hawaii, and then jumped to the West Coast, and then they made a peace treaty with the Nazis, with Hitler, and then he decided to leave the Pacific states alone for around 30 years, and then actually 50, and then Hitler invaded the United States. But then Franklin Roosevelt and his U.S. Army were fighting the strongest they've ever fought, ever. And then Hitler got really angry, and developing the nuclear bomb first, Hitler dropped the nuclear bomb on New York City, killing millions of people and making billions of dollars in property in destruction. And then Franklin Roosevelt told his U.S. Army to stand down, and then Hitler took Washington, and then he took the United States entirely, and pretty much all of the states, and Hitler did not invade all of the United States. There was a neutral zone in between, and they could not invade that because that was heavily defended. So then Hitler turned his attention towards, he invaded Mexico, the Central America, the Caribbean, and then eventually started to invade South America. And then the Spanish took Venezuela and parts of Argentina, and then Hitler took the rest. And then Hitler turned his attention toward Africa and invaded Africa, and the Italians took the Mediterranean. They invaded the Mediterranean and formed the Italian Roman Empire. And Hitler took almost all of Africa, and the other parts of it were invaded by Spain and the Italians. And then Hitler decided. And then afterwards, after Hitler took Africa, World War II was over, and it ended in 1947 or 1948. And then in the early 1960s, the peace treaty that the Japanese signed with the Nazis was over. It was already 30 years old. And then Hitler invaded all of the Japanese territories and then destroyed the Japanese in all of their territories. And then Hitler passed away in 1971, and then afterwards the Nazis made a peace treaty with Italy and Spain to never invade them. And then in the 80s, early 90s, the Nazis decided to invade the Italian Roman Empire and the Spanish Empire. And then Hitler took, and then by the beginning of the 2000s, the Nazis completely took over the globe, and the world was all Nazis. And that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and be sure to like and subscribe, and give me some comments in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in my next video, which I don't know which it is about yet, but see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.